Wrestling Brain. More and more people are saying Wrestling Brain, and that's because we're here doing extra stream Zubes on a Thursday night. It's me, Uturusinza, Josh Custodio, and I'm very excited to be here previewing AEW Dynasty, not only with my brother the Zubes, which is of course the honor of honors, not only with Bobby Burritos, I think a very fresh combo, Zubes, Bobby, and I, but with you, the Brainiacs, a call-in preview show. Viewers of my old show, Top Marks, will remember that we had the house party format. This is how we previewed pay-per-views. We opened up to the listenership and said, dive on in, Zubes. We're going to hear from a couple people in the community tonight. But first, we must hear from you. How are you, my big brother?
Good, yeah, excited. This is what it's like to stream on a Thursday. I love coming out here and just getting the new music, getting the different feel, getting the different vibe. We got a little bit more, we're usually really stuck into the rails of the progression of a Dynamite. This is nice. We get to stretch the legs, look a little bit bigger picture, think a little bit more, prognosticate, and with the year of AEW pay-per-views mostly ahead of us, sort of try out some other things. We have some big events, I think, coming up. Dynasty feels like a nice size to try out something new, so I'm excited to hear from some of the Brainiacs, maybe actually kick it classic Wrestling Brain style. When the phone lines were open, we had no idea who was going to call in. Restore the feeling, I guess is what they say.
I mean, I don't know if I want that feeling restored. You'd have to call the results mixed at best, I think, Zeus. We say mixed at best is fair. There was a call so bad, we both unanimously agreed we're never doing calls. There was a call that bad. We said, we can't make a good show out of it. It would be a horrible entertainment product to allow this to continue. Dark days, Zeus.
It's true. I don't expect that to happen tonight.
Bobby, I love doing these preview shows with you. You feel like a fixture on these Thursday night pay-per-view previews. How are you this evening, my friend?
I'm good, thanks. My kitchen injury is well on its way to recovery, so
thank goodness.
Yeah, I can type. I typed the name of the stream in today, so I'm doing okay.
Yeah, Bobby's a tough guy because on whatever day this happened, he's messaging us and he's like, I sliced my finger, but I can't drive to the store to put glue on it, so best I got is what I got. And then he goes into greater detail the next day. It's like, you barely have a finger is what happened. You're hang on a second. That's a real mark of a tough guy, it seems.
Absolutely true. Absolutely. And accidentally, we did not inform him of the time that we were doing this. So
I like to think that what separates us sometimes is that we run a clean ship around here. Everything looks good. It sounds good. It starts when it says it's going to start. We're here when we say we're going to be. But I let the team down, Zubes. I text you on the phone, just separate from Discord. We might have even been talking about something else. I said, do you want to go a little earlier on Thursday to get some calls in? And you said, that's great. And then I didn't tell Bobby. I said, Bobby will know. I thought telepathy will osmosize the information through me somehow. Idiot move by me, Zubes. Thank you,
And
Bobby,
we
for still
we
making it work
persist.
for real.
Thank you so much, Bobby. We appreciate
No
your time
worries.
and your talents.
The fun thing is that I can kind of mimic Matt's what's Matthew eating, because I always eat either before or after these. I never eat during them. But now I have food beside me that I was planning to eat right before.
Oh my goodness.
So now I'll be eating on the stream. But I'll be muted, don't worry. And we won't make a whole
And
thing
we
out
can't
of it.
see you either. There's no feed to your part of the woods.
Let's
That's right.
Bobby eating. Zubes, I'm excited to talk a little Dynasty. A bit of I'll say a transitional pay-per-view, the quick turnaround, lots talked about this week. A 4-week turnaround, unlike the more traditional 6, 7, even sometimes 8-week space between Dynamite builds. Before we get into the matches themselves, and then we will ask the chat for their hype level 1 to 7, just want to get your helicopter view here. How do you feel about the 4-week pay-per-view turnaround from Revolution to Dynasty?
Revolution was so big and they were so physical at that pay-per-view, which I think, listen, it's what we loved about it. It was amazing. It was incredible. It also felt like it was so physical that it cost them the following Wednesday. Does that seem fair to you as to
100%
how
fair.
the schedule played out? And then,
Yeah.
then you're into a 3-week turnaround, and traditionally their go homes are a little more on the house show side. So they almost only really had a 2-week build to this. It was almost like they did some heavy work yesterday on Dynamite to build this some more, and especially add stakes to the top of the card. But in terms of filling out the rest, which is what you're able to really do with those extended periods, this is definitely top heavy. You can definitely tell that they had limited time, and what they put their time into was Tony Storm and Megan Bayne and Moxley and Swerve. That's where almost all of the energy has been, with sprinkling in of the rated FTR stuff and Cope's attempts here. But this is going to be what, 3 title defenses in 4 weeks for John Moxley.
That is actually impressive. I hadn't really thought about how
5
active
wins,
Mox has been as a fighting champion over the last month.
racking
And
it
I,
up.
I largely agree with you, Zoobs. I think it worked for me, though, is what I would say. I'm pretty
Sure.
excited for Dynasty. I think it's just interesting. This is the inverse of Revolution. Revolution, we're going, boy, there's a lot of depth here, lots to like, hard to predict the match of the night. But boy, the main event scene, like eating cereal with water. I don't think this is going to hit no matter how it goes. Contrasted with Dynasty this Sunday, I
Mhm.
got to tell you, the lion's share of my interest in this pay-per-view is in John Moxley versus Swerve Strickland and Tony Storm versus Megan Bayne. It's the world title scenes that are buoying this pay-per-view for me. And as maybe, I don't know if this is a Japanese wrestling fan, or Bobby, you were pointing out in the Discord, it's like you're just build to be a New Japan fan. I also think it's a combat sports fan thing. You build to the main event. And that is easier for me to get hyped for when I can imagine sitting down, I'll get warmed up and see some good matches. But by the time Mox and Swerve hits in the main, I will be peaking in my interest. And that just as a pay-per-view experience works for me. And I think that without that, I'd probably feel different about the 4-week turnaround, but that the show's been so heavily focused around those guys and it's my big point of interest, it has worked for me this time.
That's interesting. Interesting you say that, because I think a critique I've had of some of the more recent ones, not Revolution, but I think sometimes on these pay-per-views you can get a little bit of like everything was trying to be the 7-star grudge match, so nothing felt that big. I think there is, and especially, if anybody suffered at how high level Revolution was, it was Mox in the main event. It was the inability to realistically sell over the top violence on an unbelievably violent night from top to bottom. There is a lot more runway here to sort of get out of the way and let Mox and Swerve ISO as like they're billing this as the 2 most dangerous guys in the company. They're gonna have to go to a space in this that other people haven't gone recently, which is a very well tread space, that sort of intense, style, that extreme, really high end, like dangerous style. There's not as much of that sprinkled throughout the card here, so they should have that opportunity, as you say, to really build to it throughout the night. It does look like an undercard full of like it's matches, right? It's
Yeah.
not
Get
big
them in the
event
door,
stuff.
get them in their seats, buying
Yeah.
beers. I want to shout out a first time chatter, Gnosis02, saying hello, and then natural disasters were against AEW. It feels that way lately.
Yeah.
CSUP 55, who I believe is calling in later, saying, one thing we do know, whatever Bobby is eating, he's eating 2 of them. That's just a fact. Lobster Dog 666 saying, Kenny was on like one of these 4 shows. I think
Yeah.
2. I think
Tell you
2.
who was on all 4 shows, and that's Penelope Ford. Without a doubt. And yet not at the pay-per-view. What are we doing here? Anyway.
A great TV feud for Tony Storm, I guess is the thinking there. Tito saying, my nutser is Mox defended the title more than Daniel Garcia's has defended the TNT. Garcia's
Josh, I
defended
gotta
it,
tell you,
I think Garcia's defended it 13 times against Adam Cole on Collision recently. So I
I
don't
was gonna
think
say
that's
you could tell me Garcia's defended it any number of times, and I would just buy it to keep the conversation going. I'd be like, oh,
let's just
interesting, and then
keep
just we
on
can keep
moving.
talking.
Well, Zoobs, let's do what it is we do best, even here in a pay-per-view preview show. After getting that out of the way, I want to go to the people and not ask, of course, the review of AEW Dynasty. It'd be impossible, but if you want to do that, producer Ryan and I will be live the moment Dynasty ends right here. We'll be giving our score.
Huge.
Stay up late with us. Be tired on the Monday. It's better to be paid when you're tired. Sleep is the cousin of death. You're going to go to bed.
So
You'll be like, oh, I'll watch on VOD tomorrow. And this happens all the time if you're in the Discord. People, we see it. People go, oh, I should have stayed up because now I'm just at work. I'm just at work.
Plus, you're already riding the high of the pay-per-view.
You're not going to bed. You just saw Mox and Sword.
Allow us to bring you down. Like to let's all get into it. It's an extra half hour where you're absolutely hyped.
Yeah.
Then we get into the rest of the card. We
Land
drift
the
off
plane.
into sleep and we land the plane. It's
Be into
not too
bed.
much more to ask, and you can listen to it on your headphones in your bed.
God damn, that
Why?
sounds nice. So come back to the moment the pay-per-view ends. But until then, Zoobs, I want to ask on a scale of 1 to 7, with 1 being the least and 7 being the most, where is the chat's hype level for Dynasty? And then we will go to the Zoobs. Bobby, if you wouldn't mind hitting that beautiful 1 to 7 music.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on.
Scores come in. I'll read them out. Zoobs, you can try and keep track of an average. Here we go. Notice 02 kicks us off with a 6. GT Richie with a 6. Kev Cell with a 5.5. Dark Lord DDKL with a 6. Lobster Dog 666 with a 4.5. Heartnote with a 4. T-Dales 2020 with a 6. Betty B 2123 with a 5.5. Lower Defenseman with a 5.5. Fruits are edible with a 6. I may have with a 5. C-Step with 55 with a 5.5. Love when that happens. Corvax 1266 with a 5.75. And Dennis Dirty Work, who's going to be in the building on Sunday night with the full 7.
Wow.
And Zoobs,
What a weekend Dennis Dirty Work has set up for themselves. First on Wrestling Brain Thursday, and then in the building for the pay-per-view Sunday. That's double dipping.
he said, I want to be alive, is what
Yeah.
Dennis Dirty Work said. I have to assume. What are we saying here, Zoobs? 5.5 average, 5.75.
That's where I call it there without thinking about it too much. 5.5 looks like the chat av right there to me.
And how does that reflect your feelings, these Zoobs?
That's a toughie. I feel like I'm probably closer to a flat 5 because I am really intrigued by the 2 main event things. I think that there's a lot of good direction and stuff that I'm very interested in. I'm also sort of, pay-per-view Kenny and Ricochet and Speedball does have a chance of like being a little sleeper hit
Sure.
in there with the mixes of those styles. And yeah, I'm excited about that part. For me, this is, and we'll get into it when we talk about the matches. This is a classic of like, even this is getting 9 matches. Even this is a 9-match card. I know it's like, oh, you're complaining about Mercedes and Will having pay-per-view matches. Fair enough. But also, like, I just spiritually, I don't think the first round tournament matches should be on the pay-per-view. It just doesn't seem. It just scratches me a little bit wrong. I totally get you're getting star power, and I totally get if you're paying for the pay-per-view. Isn't it nice to get matches from your 2 best, like, established top in-ring people? It does. For me though, it's a little bit of like, these are often come down to less is more, and these feel a little bit like Will Ospreay appears at the pay-per-view, like going into Dynamite as a pay-per-view match.
I'd have to chew on, in general, do I mind the tournament first round matches on the pay-per-view, but I could get there. But for me, I do think they had an opportunity here to make a shorter pay-per-view as an answer to Revolution, and it might have played really well. I wouldn't have added all these matches, but for me, I talk all the time. I like that NXT Black and Gold era where the pay-per-views are, the main event starts around 2 hours 45, 3 hours. That works for my tastes, but there's just, I can't blatantly complain about pay-per-view length ever, because it really has nothing to do with the length. I realize, like, there are pay-per-views that are longer and I enjoy a great deal, but there's nothing worse than a pay-per-view you're not enjoying that much and
Right.
is long. Yeah, I think, was it Full Gear that had that Anarchy in the Arena that just had to, like, or no, it was in Vegas, so it must have been a Double or Nothing. Anyway, they just had to, like, wake the crowd up. Like, it was like, okay, there's too much in the middle here, so the best you can do to avoid that, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. To finish off that, sort of cap that off, it's just you're only having 2 of the opening. Even if you had all 4 of the opening round matches, it's a little bit closer. But it's like the tournament's not going to end on a pay per view, but it is going to begin for 2 people. It just, to me, is like when on again, if any time to do a shortened pay per view, and hell, charge less for it, maybe. They don't do it. It's fine. It's fine.
I
It'll be
hear
fine.
you, though.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this main event, Zubes. Our friend Jon Moxley putting his AEW world title on the line against Swerve Strickland, member of the Wrestling Brain Discord. So 2 guys very, very close to this channel's heart.
Yeah.
And okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm in love with this feud. I love these guys together. I love the direction they've taken with it. I am impressed at how split people seem to be on this title defense outcome. To me, this is a Jon Moxley defense, kind of without question. I don't think they'll be putting it on Swerve. I won't say what I think my plans for Swerve are, but because this isn't that show. But to me, Zoobs, this is as big of a lock, quote unquote, as much as anything exists like that. But as any of the recent Jon Moxley title defenses, I don't even really see him having much better of a chance than I thought Cope did. You remember Cope was kind of like a sexy pick for some people
Cope
at the
got
last
us
minute there.
Cope got us
There were
there,
people
yeah.
picking Cope. I thought, I didn't see it, but I think that Swerve is about as live as those guys, no stronger. But there's way more people picking Swerve this week. Zoobs, what do you chalk that up to? And can you bring yourself to give Swerve a higher percentage to win than I am?
Maybe people being hopeful. Maybe people sort of doing the he is a rightful guy that does represent everything that Mox is talking about. He is sort of like, he fits the bill for everything that he complains the company not being. Swerve is all of those things, and like can easily lay claim to title deserving, and isn't like the A player in a lot of people's eyes, and for good reason. He's earned that. And it is easy case to make. Like, he's made a pretty great case over the last year and a half, 2 years, that he is the A babyface at this moment, and is able to get to a level that other guys aren't able to do in all facets. So that is a big point in his favor. But I do tend to align with you. I do think this is as chalky as Mox has been in quite some time.
Zoobs, you want to put a poll up? I'd be curious to see who the chat present is picking after we've said that. See if there are some Swerve believers. Notice O2 saying, I don't mind getting my $50 worth with more matches. I see that said. I just don't relate to that. I think it's more of a me thing. That's like saying, oh, I hope the new Martin Scorsese movie is 5 hours. Like, why? You think it's like long? It's like, I need my value out of my ticket. It's like, well, what if it's just great? Wouldn't that be value? Or like video games, like, oh, the new Assassin's Creed game is 300 hours. It's like, that means nothing to me. Like, I like games that are 8 hours in and out. So if length is something that attributes value to you, I get that, but I don't relate to it. Zoobs, what are you expecting in a match here? Mox has promised violence. Tony Khan gave a very encouraging quote here, Zoobs, that I'll read to you today when he was asked about, because there was all that hubbub by the Pearl Clutchers about the Cope and Mox spike bat. I don't know if you saw this, but Tony Khan said, AEW will continue to incorporate more violent and hardcore elements into our programming because I'm aware that the fans love it. Yes, dude.
There we go.
That's the stuff I absolutely love to hear from TK. Are you expecting one spot to that level or a sustained level of violence? Because like you said, these two set a high bar for hurting one another.
Yeah, I'm expecting what we've got quite a bit of in big Swerve moments, which is like really creative high end violence, which is what they've done really well. And I know Mox is a guy that loves to think the game. I expect him to match that, and if not double, triple down on it. So I'm expecting this to be like a really intriguing kind of violent, a really smart kind of violent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
a really cerebral, like thoughtful, meaningful kind of violent.
Almost Swerve's signature at this point.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, and again, like I sort of laid out, like the card lends itself to that. Of like the card doesn't have a lot of other places. Maybe that Death Riders FTR match might have some, but like it isn't littered with plunder and stipulation matches. It's mostly going to stand out on a night that is again mostly going to be straightforward handshake in the middle of the ring type stuff. Yeah, I think cinder block, they've already done, they did glass on live TV like as a
Yeah,
go
that's
home.
I was gonna literally say we're starting the coaster here, right? They're
Yeah,
willing to
they've
do
already
it.
done spike bat and glass, so it's gonna be crazy.
Our pal Fruits are edible predicting a Mox violence onto the cinder block. I will lose it if that happens. I want to go find this clip, Zoops, because all I could think about this week, and I haven't seen anybody mention it. There's this great interview with Renee Paquette where she's talking to Swerve Strickland, or maybe Swerve's on the sessions or whatever the podcast was. This is why I got to go find
Sure.
this. But Renee and Swerve are talking, and she's like, I got to tell you something. When you first got to AEW, you were walking past John Moxley and I backstage, and you introduced yourself, and you were like, hey, great to be here. And my husband was a little like standoffish with you, not in a personal way. That's just kind of his personality. And I said, do you know that's Killshot? And Mox goes, from Lucha Underground? And she goes, yes. And Mox went and ran up to Swerve, who was walking away, and was like, I'm a big fan. I love some of the stuff you did. And like went and reintroduced himself to Swerve Strickland. Oh, because he didn't know it was under the mask. And so I was thinking about that this week, and that Mox is familiar and a fan of Lucha Underground Killshot. I've got to think he wants to do something special knowing that. And then that got me excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
My official pick, John Moxley. Zoobs, your official pick?
Yeah, John Moxley, via a lot of different things. I think we're gonna see a lot. They might, they did a good job with what I only always asked for in terms of Moxley's title defenses and bringing a little extra drama to the Death Riders is having them defend the trios titles earlier in the night. It's just that simple
Mm-hmm.
for me. Like they've just
Well,
been
especially
missing
with
that
the
on.
ops in the crowd.
That's right.
What if they successfully defend and then the ops attack? There's lots to go there. I agree, Zoobs. That's a nice ball in the air and only adds to Swerve's credibility in picking up the win.
Yeah, so they're starting to really understand. Like they did our feelings on Cope and the Cope feud aside, they did at least in that feud start to lay the building blocks of like the babyface is going to have to come with a plan to take out, I guess everyone but Wheeler Yuta. But this
Wow.
this
Maybe
time they
Swerve should have
have
showed Wheeler some respect. Maybe that would have
yeah, he didn't try
shook
shaking
his
his hand.
hand or something.
But yeah,
Anyway.
they're setting up earlier in the night, those guys being busy, potentially being out, potentially there being, as you said, the ops in the crowd. I think the more and more challengers Mox starts to take on, and the more and more people start to line up, the more dinged up and more planned for the Death Riders will be, right? A little more tape on them back there, if you want to say, and a little bit more game film on how to get these guys scattered and actually take the one person that solves it all and wins will feel really cathartic.
Man, you're getting me excited, Zoobs. There
Hope so.
will be a catharsis to that win, one way or the other, no matter what, right?
Yeah, we're gonna see the belt. We haven't seen the belt.
Man,
We haven't seen the belt in so long.
the next champ has to have a new belt, right?
You think that's the?
I feel like
I don't know.
after all this, well, maybe they'll be happy to see it. I don't know. Oh, well, we'll find out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Dirtywork, if you want to get on deck, and Bobby, if you want to get us set up for the 3-man Discord setup, we'll go to our first call in here to talk about Tony Storm, MRIMA, for a man who's going to be in the building, Zoobs. And as we bring in Dennis, just hasn't this been a great use of Megan Bain so far, Zoobs? It's nice to see booking that goes aligned with my my opinion of how high end I think someone is.
Yeah, when we talk about like top stars, and we've been talking about Tony in that way. Let's bring Dennis Dirtywork in here, and
Yeah,
we'll
let's get Dennis in here.
really get jamming.
We'll get jamming. Oh, look at Bobby. He made a nice little guest plate. Hi, Dennis. How are you, man?
Hey, great to be here, guys.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate your time and your voice, because I'm running out of mine. So we hopefully we can loan some of yours.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, and he's got a nice setup. Here we go.
Now we're talking.
I forgot about this. Yeah, you got a
Literally, now we're
great.
talking.
We are really talking. The brick is so nice, Dennis. What a setup.
Yeah, it's cozy in here.
Dennis, you're going into the building. I imagine lots of reason to be excited, but talk about if you are. I asked you what match you want to talk about. You said Tony and Megan Bain. I've got to think you're pretty excited for this one.
Tony and Megan Bain is like it's this continuation of the sort of like the cinematic part of the presentation is so good. Tony's lines are hitting 100% of the time. Like everything she says, I like rewind half the things she says just to
She's so good.
catch every single portion of it. And Megan Bain is like the first, it's like a monster movie. It's sort of like playing out like a monster movie where it's like or almost like if you remember in the 80s when they made Zeus a character against Hulk Hogan. Like it's like they're bringing in this
That's a great character.
mythical huge character that has already shown that she is impervious to the attacks, and they're going to make it so it's something that the hero has to conquer.
Dennis, that is incredible because that legitimately I have written down like I wanted to find a way to make the Tony Storm Hogan comparison because that is exactly I couldn't agree more. That's exactly what this feels like. Where like when you have a super top baby face that is very clearly carrying your division and very clearly a top star, what you do is you dig up literally anybody and watch that star make that person into a huge threat. And that's what having super over baby faces is for. And Tony is like, this is the next evolution of your babyface dominant champion, right? Is digging up competitors from all over the place, people who have like, there's a lot of different skill sets you have when you're a wrestler. Somebody who literally doesn't have a score in one of them. We right now, currently, Megan Bain's like promo score is 0 because she hasn't even had to use it because Tony is able to carry that side of the act so heavily that Megan Bain doesn't have to promo. That's how good of a promo Tony Storm is.
She's only said bow down. Like those are like the only words that she said at
Awesome.
all.
And I don't think she should say much more. But Dennis, I want to ask you 2 questions. One, do you think this match should main event Dynasty? And
Ooh.
2, will this match main event Dynasty?
I don't believe it will. I don't believe it will. I think I think that a women's main event on a pay-per-view is in the not so distant future. I think I would hope that they would put it onto like a larger event. Like Dynasty is still a new pay-per-view, and it does feel like you were saying at the beginning of the show transitional. If they were to do that, maybe toward maybe All Out, like maybe All In has like a big stonking sort of like men's main event, and then All Out has an like a women's main event. I think that would actually be great symmetry,
Oh,
and
that's
it would be a good payoff.
Dennis, these are great points flying out of
This
you.
is the audience we have. This is the audience we have. This is the people who listen to our show. This is who
That's humbling. Because really true, really great points. Am I right? Well, I'll just ask you. Give me percentages. Not just who's winning this match, but how likely is the winner in your mind? What's the spread here?
Okay, so the impervious monster, I'd give her maybe 15%. But
Yeah.
I think we're looking at a pretty hard lock on Tony to win. I think this is supposed to be the win that's going to show her struggling. And a lot of her wins, even against Mariah May, showed her struggling. That she had to do the roll up, and then she had to go through hell just to get the title back or to retain the title. So this is going to be another, I think, another sort of like performance where she's going to struggle, but it'll heat her up to show her like face the eventual winner of the Owen, and I think that's going to be a great match.
How does that hit your
Whoever it
ears,
might-
Zubes, as Tony is a quite likely winner, but struggling a decent amount on the way there?
Yeah, really bang on. I mean, Dennis Dirty Work, what a call. Has like unearthing things that we haven't even considered and picking exact comparisons out of our brains all around 5 stars. Yeah, I think he's absolutely bang on. that this is going to be like Tony is fully in her like really classic baby and that's so funny, obviously, because she's like a timeless character, but like she's such a legitimately classic old school baby face right now that it's going to be like any era of wrestling, you could put a filter over it and tell anybody this came out in any year. This is gonna be, to me, like just really classic, undersized babyface who knows all the tricks versus the slow but young but inexperienced monster that falls into the trap at the exact right time and our hero escapes. With the real, maybe an equal on the horizon, I think is bang on.
And there's definitely a way
Absolutely.
to build her into an equal on the horizon out of a loss, I think. But Dennis, Zoobs, wander with me down the rabbit hole, if you will. Just let's just take a little walk-see down to Wonderland. Wouldn't it just be nuts if Megan Bain squashed Tony Storm?
Be awesome. Be awesome.
Because my heart's torn in two. Because obviously the Tony Storm title reign doesn't need to end. It's so good. She's the best part of the show. I think she's the best promo in the company. I think the world of Tony Storm. I don't think she needs to win much at all. I don't see her as a dominant winning champion. I see her as needing to beat Mariah, but she can be the 20-time world champion for as far as I'm considered. She's the most made person easily in the division over Mercedes Moné right now in terms of overness and crowd reaction. And you have an opportunity to make someone who can actually be a star for you in Megan Bain. Megan Bain has, I don't know what crossover appeal of the casual fan is, but in terms of could maybe leak out of into a different online niche the smallest amount possible, I think Megan Bain holds that. I can talk myself in the door on a Megan Bain win here, Dennis. Am I on the crazy pills? Am I huffing copium?
I see it too. I see it too. I think it's more that I think Megan needs more reps. Like she's been very much like a lot of AEW feuds. She's been thrown right at the front door of the opportunity very soon. She's had very, very few minutes of time on television. And I think the squash it would require a lot of heavy lifting to sell it, even though
It's
the
true.
presentation of the character has like no need for salesmanship. Um,
Mhm.
it's the track record that needs more.
You're
So
absolutely
I think that a squash title win is in her future as well. But I don't believe that it's going to be now. I think you need time to let that cook.
I don't see somebody for Tony before the Owens women's side, I guess, is also something I would say. Is I don't know who's next up because they're all in the tournament. And a loss to Bane, I don't know. I'm just trying to get there. And when I
Sure.
go and put my prediction on the patreon.com pick 'em where you can win a holographic sticker if you pick perfect. I'm probably writing down Tony, but man, I think it would be brave and cool and you could run with Bane here. Dennis, I hope you have the best time at the show, man. Is there any other takes you want to fire out before we get you out of here for the night?
Ooh, ooh. Okay. So I only shared this one in private. So the reason
Ooh.
why I'm hoping that Swerve wins is because, like this might, it's pretty steaming this take.
I like it.
Uh,
Let's go.
so the Death Riders are basically a, oof, I even struggle to say it. They are essentially the white supremacist bloodline.
Whoa. All right, Dustin, great
So-
talking to you.
Please don't cancel me. No, no, it's just the romper stomper stuff at the beginning.
Yeah.
The haircuts, the lot of bald people, the speaking in different languages, the emphasis of Claudio in German. There's and then the bloodline side of it with all the shenanigans. And now everyone's booing the fact that they're not booing Mox. They're booing the way that he keeps winning the title in the like most bullshit
Yeah, they're
ways.
booing the run-ins. Yeah.
Right, right. They're booing the fact that the match is being disrupted. So, but the way that it's been done is it's essentially sort of like they're trying to take over and sort of enforce their way on everyone else. Even the one that they were beating up is the one of color, like in the in the faction, like Wheeler. So so it just sort of struck me. That's sort of what made my take sort of emerge. It's not 100%. I'm not 100% convinced, but I
No,
think that's the look that I'm feeling from it.
I like it. And Josh asked for a hot take, and you delivered.
yeah, no. I think that there's. So listen, Mox definitely did the romper stomper thing, and Claudio is definitely speaking German. So if you want to draw those compare, you're not. You're not. I asked if I was crazy. I don't think you're crazy in seeing this. It's not my read of it, but I think that it's interesting. And if it is, and then Swerve goes over, I think they're telling a really interesting story there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of the hopium that I'm throwing out in the world, and I'm going to be there. So I love Swerve. So I would scream until I was hoarse.
I think you're gonna get a great wrestling show, dude. And we appreciate you calling in a huge amount. Please do it again. Extremely good call.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
great talking to you guys.
Love and energy, Dennis. We'll talk to you later, brother. Travel
Love
safe.
and energy.
Whew. Excellent.
What a great call from a wise man in Dennis Dirty Work Zubes. I love the see. This is why you curate the call-ins. When we open it up to anybody, some guy was just doing an ad at one point last time, if I recall correctly, and and now you get sort of like Dennis Dirty Work. That's just the way to do it.
Yes, and also that's that's a classic. That's a keystone caller right there. When people see him call in, and they realize it's not scary. Man, I
Yeah.
watch the show. I'm smart. I can
Yeah,
come in and talk
I'm a
to these
smart
guys.
guy.
Come in and give your smart take. We compliment you on your smart take. You're in a pleasant home. You're warm, comfy in the brick.
Settle
All
in.
good.
You can watch yourself back on VOD in like slow motion. Be like, man,
What's better? Speaking of which, we have a second caller. You are on deck when you're ready to rock and roll.
do we want to do that match, Zubes?
Well, we don't have they don't have a match picked, so whoever our next caller is.
They
We'll
actually
jump in.
have messaged me which
Oh.
ones since then. So, but that's okay. If you want to go to them, we can do it.
No,
now.
no. Let's go. Let's do what's next, and when we get to that match, I don't know what it is. So when we get there, you tell me.
Yeah, I was gonna burn through the 2 tournament opening matches, and then see Suppa, you can get
Perfect.
on deck, and we'll talk about the trios title match. But we can
Excellent.
quickly do Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. We saw them team up
Sure.
on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. This is for a advancement in the Owen Hart tournament. I really think that they're going to do their part to get Kevin Knight over here, but just no way Will Ospreay leaves this tournament first round, Zubes. That's my entire take, basically.
This is one that is going to be less will be more for me. I don't need this to get dragged out the extra 5 to 7 minutes that these things sometimes get dragged out for. I'm happy to see a Will Ospreay match. I expect a really high level from Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight. I would love high level, hard hitting, fast action, and fairly quick would be my ideal situation here.
And Will Ospreay can beat up Kevin Knight. Will
How hard
Ospreay is as high on the kayfabe power meter that you got, relatively. He can hidden blade this guy 7-8 minutes in. And I'm a huge Kevin Knight believer. Think of all the names I put him over on AEW Dudes this week. Countless guys. People were furious. They said, you think more than Daniel Garcia, TNT champion Daniel Garcia? I said, easily.
We're posting your address online for that take.
Yeah, remember that guy who Stalker you?
Yep.
What was that?
Following us. Yeah.
What was that? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You stay out of the city I live in, Regina, Saskatchewan.
Scary. You're gonna slip up. You're gonna visit Regina one day and forget.
Yeah, he's gonna be there. Well, I'm gonna visit there because I live there. Yeah, not really visiting, Zubes.
Stalking you in the chat.
He's in the damn chat. Oh my god, he's everywhere. I'm gonna stalk you. That couldn't have been worse. I feel horrible right now. This is an open call-in show except for stalking you. Don't call in.
Oh god.
Please unfollow and leave.
Yeah, I'm really unsettled by the
I
fact
feel
that
terrible.
they were in the chat.
Ew. Do I have to go get one of my guns? I'm a gun owner. 1 second. I'm gonna
He's
show my
very good at
weapons
what he
on
does.
screen.
You do. I agree.
He's
you
a pro. You
do kind of have to hand it to him. Yeah.
Never sleeps. You gotta respect, actually.
And at least he's not lying to you. You got to give him that too.
Yeah.
Honest. He's honest.
To some degree. Straightforward. Anything else you want to say about Ospreay and Knight, Zubes? I think we're hoping the same thing here. Something shorter and with Kevin Knight still looking good.
Yeah, I don't have too much. I'm excited for an expanded, continued look at Kevin Knight. I expect will to have the boots on for sure.
Well,
And on the other side,
quick point I was going to
the-
make about that. Just
please, Bobby.
two things. One is that I know that weight classes aren't a thing in AEW, but Kevin Knight has been in AEW for like 2 weeks, and he's a junior in New Japan. That has to factor in.
You're right.
You know, that's not going to be a thing a year from now, but 2 weeks into your AEW tenure after being in New Japan for a couple of years as a junior, I think that's a consideration. And the other thing is
Gato's just screaming.
yeah, exactly. Like, what? Don't make this competitive, right?
Yeah, he better not get offense.
Yeah. Only Hiromu is allowed. But the other point I was going to make quickly is just that I think that the most important reason that this should be relatively quick and not get too self-indulgent is that it will just screw Kenny Omega so badly, because these guys will probably put on a better match than the other two guys Kenny has to work with. So leave the acrobatics for that, you know?
I think that's a good take all around, Bobby. Although I think the real problem there is that they are managing to book and make Kenny Omega do things that upon return I am somehow not that interested in, which is just shocking. It's just shocking. How did we get here? Let's talk about the other side of the well, not the other side, but another part of the tournament, I suppose. Julia Hart versus Mercedes Moné in the opening round of the women's bracket. I'd love to say this isn't the case, but I feel like Mercedes is just a lock to make the finals here. There's nobody that I just can't imagine her giving up a pin here. And if she does, it has to be in the finals. You have to be pinned at AEW, Zubes.
She could lose to Athena in the second round. You could find a way.
Uh,
But yeah, she's definitely. I assume she's definitely walking through Julia Hart. I don't expect this to be. This is lock of the night material.
yeah, that's
These two-
probably your
both
most
these-
likely winner, I would say.
Both these matches are lock of the night to me.
But yeah, excited again for this one, but don't need it to go especially long. Mercedes is on a heater, but opening matches on the opening tournament. Hoping for a good match, obviously, but really hoping that the top of the card gets to stretch its legs a little bit more here.
Saw a video the other day
I've seen those.
online classically, and it
they
was
are.
just title. It was just pointing out how deep of a bag Mercedes Moné has. It was like it was a video, and the concept of the video was every different move she's hit. And the video is 5.5 minutes long, like without a move
That's
repeating.
insane. That's just a
It's
wrestler who can do it all.
It's bananas. It's bananas the how deep the bag of tricks is. It really is like when you see it laid out like that, you're like, wow, that's crazy.
Does anybody in the chat have anybody in the finals besides Mercedes and Hayter? That's what I'm wondering, because I feel like that side of the bracket's a little easier to call. But nonetheless, Mercedes on pay-per-view always seems to deliver. I like opportunities for Julia Hart, but just don't see her picking up a win here.
Yeah, this is why, again, the first 5 matches being on the pay-per-view doesn't make a ton of sense to me. It just doesn't.
When Julia kind of emerged as good right before she won the TBS title, it kind of surprised everybody. At the time, Mercedes didn't work in AEW, and my big thought was, man, I hope she gets to work with Mercedes at some point, because they're like the same build. They kind of are both sickos in the same way. So I'm really excited. Not that the match is important or anything like that from a match perspective, but I'm excited for them to work together, and I hope that there's a future there where she can learn from her.
I love that take, Bobby. Yeah, you got to think of everybody on the roster. Julia could probably learn the absolute most from Mercedes Moné. Like you say, frame and even style of selling. Like, I like it. What do you say, Sue? Should we bring C-Suppa in here and chat a little trios title action? A little
Let's do it.
rated
Let's do it.
FTR versus the Death Riders?
Let's do it. Jump in and let's get after it.
Hop on the Discord whenever you're ready. C-Suppa. Oh, I heard the sound. That beautiful sound. Oh, I heard that beautiful sound.
I can't believe we did this before with a Google Meet link just that's like sent out into the ether of the internet, and people joined the call.
Well, I mean, we the results showed that.
Yeah, that's true.
Now we've got Bobby who just snap his fingers. He goes, "Oh yeah, we."
I'm not even thinking about how people are figuring out to come into the yeah.
Suppa, do we have you there?
We do, yes. Hi.
Hey, brother,
Beautiful.
how we doing on this evening?
Pretty all right, I must say.
And the
There we
camera's fired up. There
go.
we go. This is a guy with features like me, Zubes. Dark features. Glasses. I feel like we had a Dennis Dirty Work Zubes thing going on. And now we have a Suppa Josh thing going. Am I right?
Just wait till we get to summer, right? Am I right? Wait till we get to summer. And then
Amen,
we're
brother. You
tanning. We're
said it.
tanning. Oof. Yeah.
Poof. Yeah. Let's to be clear, about 100 shades paler than summer right now. But I do go dark in the summer. Correctly called. Suppa, how you feeling about the pay-per-view tonight? And give me your overhead thoughts on the trios title match.
Yeah, I think for that match, there's a lot to look forward to. I think on paper, there's a lot to be wary of, but I see some things happening that everyone can enjoy. Everyone can enjoy watching Simon Cope in a multi-man match and no more singles matches, which is great.
True.
The next singles match that guy should have, I guess, is Christian at some point down the road whenever they want to fire that off, probably at Y'all In or something like that. But no more singles Simon Cope, which, ooh, like, thank you.
I'm with you
Thank
here. That's a
gentlemen.
big point. That's a big check.
Yeah, and in addition, they've been teasing the FTR turn mostly with Dax, but you got to believe there's going to be a moment towards the end of this match where there's a fuck up, and maybe there's some dissension, or maybe not, and maybe
Let me pause you
you know
there,
they,
Suppa. When you say there's going to be a fuck up in this match, do you see it between Cash and Dax or Dax and Cope? That's the part that I can't quite figure out. Where do you think it spurns off into? Do you think who do you
yeah.
see the F up happening with between?
I'm on the ladder with that, Josh. I think that you're going to see maybe some early can FTR coexist, which is like okay, and and uh and something will happen. I'm going to say 3/4 of the way through the match where Dax is going to maybe go for a tag, something really, really subtle. Dax is going to go for a tag and Cope is sucking wind outside because Claudio crushed him or something, or Wheeler cut him off with a Psycho or something like that. And then he'll be like, oh, where's my guy? And then, something's going to occur. The Death Riders will win. I do think that if you believe Swerve is going to win, you're maybe getting a little more variance here in terms of the outcome. But if you think Mox is winning, I mean, there's just no world in which the Death Riders don't also win. So in that case, you're getting, some kind of a fucked finish. And maybe they do it in a way where maybe Dax and Cope are sort of settling things out or whatever, and then Cash just waffles Cope or something along those lines, or vice versa.
Now we're
And I
talking.
think we're smart, handsome gentlemen in this stream. I don't think a lot of people really expect in the greater wrestle sphere. My thought is that I don't think a lot of people are expecting FTR to actually do it, and I'm almost convinced they're going to do it.
I like that, Zubes.
I like that a lot.
The caller's coming in strong tonight. Coming in saying a capital T take. How does that hit your ears, Zubes? Do you think you could see a dissolution of FTR or a strengthening of them against Cope in this match? And we barely even talked about the Death Rider side of this yet. So maybe there is more meat on this match than I was thinking.
I like that a lot. I like the them both agreeing to get rid of Cope because he's old and he's holding them back, and they've lost sight of the tag titles. And when Dax was upset, he was right. Cash thought about it and was like, you know what? Actually, you were bang on there. I don't know why we're running around with this guy.
When you called me Dan, that spoke to my soul.
Yeah, right. And you actually hit on something else as you were talking there about how this informs the rest of the night. I think, as you just talked about with Dennis Dirty Work, I think we're all pretty chalk on Mox and Tony. And if we're also talking retention here, do we think we're having a full chalk retention card, or is maybe the three-way where we get something go aside, or do they say, hey, Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia go to the way? Do we think we're treading too close to everybody retains all night long?
So Kenny retains for sure.
Okay, now
I think Mox retains for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess you just got to do the Bane switch. No, that does. Zubes, you're right. It does make me
Syndicate probably not losing to Learning Tree?
No.
Yeah, that's although I think Bandito's beating Jericho, so that's
Sure. Yeah, okay. ROH Championship. Thank God they have the ROH Championship to do whatever they need to do with. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Very cool. Sons of bitches.
from an entertainment standpoint, Suppa, where do you think this one can land? Can this be one of the better matches on the card, or do you think that they're just sort of limited by it being a trios match featuring co-host of the Dutch Mantel podcast, Simon Cope?
I think it has potential because I do think, as was discussed earlier, it is a very top heavy show where I think a lot of matches have the potential to, win the bronze or win the Canadian bronze, fourth place. I think that you can envision a scenario in which, like, you've just got world class guys in there on the one side especially, that can do this, and FTR can certainly work their tag magic, in a 2v2 situation if you take a couple guys out. So I think so. I think it could. I do think it is more likely a match that people will be like, well, we want to get to the end of this.
Mhm.
Yeah, they'll
To
be
see
fighting
to
against
see
that.
Yeah, and I think you're not really in that position with some of the other matches on this card where you do actually want to see it play out. I mean, we do all believe Kenny will retain, but there's going to be stuff in that match that you're going to want to see. You don't really want to skip to the end where Speedball takes a one-winged angel or something. Like, there's at least something to
Yeah.
play with it
For
there.
sure.
Yeah, and I think that the drama that could come out of the trios match. I mean, hell, like, have we said any of those things about trios matches in ever? Like, in
They haven't even been
months?
defended.
Like,
We haven't
Yeah,
because they are not a part of the television,
right?
which is maybe the best
Even
thing the Death Riders have done for my money.
it's true. Yeah, and even in any trios match, like title or not, there's just guys getting their shit in is your high watermark, like your high bar. Whereas I think here there could be some decent storytelling beats that they can hit here, and they have built to that. So give them credit for actually paying attention to the trios division on some
Yeah,
level.
there is.
You do have the ops also in the crowd, as it was mentioned earlier. Like, maybe Samosif Joseph says, "Hey, look, that's a spot for me as I'm potentially winding down my run in general." He wants to bring Hook and Shibata along for the ride. Who doesn't want to see that? Like, that's cool to
Yeah, I'd be
me.
fine if Joe just beat all 6 people in this match at this
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. For
Sup
sure.
up, brother. Go on the record. Who walks out as the trios champions on Sunday?
Death Riders.
Zoobs?
Death Riders. Yeah, I agree. I'm liking a lot of what Caesar brought to the table here. Yeah, I think well argued. I think this is one way or the other. Death Riders are walking out with the gold.
One way or another, they're gonna find you. They're gonna get you. Pop Claudio Wheeler. They're gonna get you. Suppa, any closing firing shots? A hot take you want to get out there before we let you get out of here for the evening and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, I think the rest of the card I'm not as jazzed about because I do feel like the outcomes are somewhat uninteresting. I will say I'm really happy that we've gotten to a Tony versus Megan Bain type of match, because to me this is like what this could be, and I'm expecting it to be, is really the sort of the before and after, like this is like the turning point for the division. It can be a
Yeah.
turning point for the division where you've got a whole bunch of women in this division who have been there for a very long time, and it just didn't happen for them. And after this, if this is what it could be, where it's just Tony trying to chop down this mountain, um, you're those ladies unfortunately are left in the dust, and I don't see them attaining this level of success again. I'm talking about your Thunder Rosas and what have you. They're just like, you're done. Like, you're not at this level. The division is too strong now, and I think you just look at the folks that are in the Owen. That's
I
that's the
love the
like
Owen field this year. It is
75% of
genuinely-
those, yeah, are insane. And if you're not in the Owen, or you're not one of the favorites in the Owen in your bracket right now, I don't know. I don't know about your where you stand, going forward with this company.
Shots at Thunder Rosa from C Suppa. Thank you so much for the call,
Great
man.
call.
We're on
Great
a
call.
run of great calls tonight, Zubes. And yours right alongside them. Thanks so much, brother. Love and energy.
Thank you.
Okay, Zubes. The call-ins make it easy. I don't have to say that much about these things.
It's great. It's great. My throat hurts. I was able to just like sit in the back seat on that one. That felt great.
Kind of chill.
Yeah, that was great. This is
And-
why we love the calls.
Well, now, Zubes, I'm going to ask you to put your voice to the test.
Okay.
Can you speak for 15 to 20 minutes about Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole? Let him have it, Zubes. The big take. Yeah.
Adam Cole. I never thought we'd get
Baby.
here. I never thought we'd get here. There's the proliferation of they're all over the card now. Adam Cole, we got Cope in this card, we got Jericho in this card. They managed to collect a bunch of guys that I have no interest in. It's a shame.
How'd they do it?
I don't know how they did it because they at the beginning of the company they had me interested in people I'd never seen before, never heard of before. Now I know too much about some of the guys they're using. Listen, I really want it for Daniel Garcia. I really do. And they've not obviously, it seems to me that they have given him Collision as sort of his proving ground with this title, which is unfair to me, to be honest with you. Not that Collision is they put a lot of things on Collision to attempt to make it a worthy like B-side to the thing, to Dynamite. The problem is that they are filming it like it's a far B show. You're filming it after Dynamite. I know which show is the A show and which show is the B show. The show that you
You're
filmed
just
live.
never gonna have the crowd of the A show for that.
You'll never have the crowd.
Heat-wise, yeah.
The guys are going out. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time where they are in the buildings they are sometimes.
And they've
it's
seen
not
2.5
tenable.
hours of wrestling.
If maybe they did ROH before the show, like maybe they were been there for 4 hours of wrestling, of just TV wrestling. It's difficult. I want it to work. I believe in the talent. Adam Cole is a tough one for. I've literally no idea what Adam Cole's alignment is currently because I don't. He's like a reluctant babyface. Yeah, this one's unfortunately not too much for me. No time limit, no outside interference. So good, clean wrestling. That's a nice little appeal. Yeah, that TNT championship. I don't know. I'd love to see it more involved on Dynamite, but I understand that it's not on TNT as a show. So.
I feel like it's kind of damning that all the best TNT runs I can think of are from years ago. Miro's not even in the company. Darby's in Nepal. These are the TNT title runs. Even Cody would be like one.
Darby had Darby in Nepal. I mean, yeah, you're right. I was thinking OC, but that's not that championship.
That's exactly right. So
can't forget about the king of television himself, though, too.
Yeah, no question, Joe. I mean, when you're the king of TV. Wait, wasn't that the Ring of Honor TV title? He wasn't TNT. Was
he had both. Yeah.
Okay,
we saw Darby beat him in Seattle on Dynamite.
Oh, of course, the trilogy with. Oh my God,
which was great.
Those matches,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
the Sting promo,
one of the best TV matches they've ever put on. That one, the Joe win.
Yeah, go watch the Sting promo. Then when he's trying to build Darby up to beat Joe for the third match,
so awesome,
incredible.
Great shout, Bobby, as always. Before we continue down the card, I do just want to let people know. First of all, thank you to the people. I put out an episode of Shootopia this morning, and it got very listened to. Lots of people hit play on that sucker, and it's always nice. Those are high effort and take a while to put out. So Wrestling Colin and I going through a Dr. Death Shoot interview. You can be one of the others who have enjoyed it. Next week, every Thursday for the next couple weeks, you get a big episode. If you're ever going to sign up for the Discord, for the Patreon, why not now? You could be a caller on this show right now. You could do the pick'em sheet for Dynasty to win one of these, and you get Shootopia. Never a better time, Zubes.
Amazing.
Matty Mag's asking over under 3.5 Panama Sunrises in this match. Put me down for 2. I'll take the under, but I'll groan on everyone. Yeah, Zubes, I largely agree with you, man. This Adam Cole is in the camp of even if something good happened, I wouldn't be able to notice it. And so him and Garcia could put on a corker here and it won't mean anything to me. You just got to move on to the next thing before you're going to have my investment, unfortunately. Don't care about Adam Cole.
A shame.
I think I might pick him to win here, though.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. You're trying to get something out of that. That title probably needs a change. You're probably already dumping the Garcia title reign, and you give Garcia something to do, right? Something to sort of another hurdle if he's like once again tried his hardest, and even when he thought he had success, it only makes him feel like more of a failure. I think you're able to do something with that.
Cole's sort of high floor of overness is also, I think, helpful to a TV title. So
Yeah,
I could see it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next match here, Zubes. And if anybody else does want to call in, we can take one more caller tonight. Oh wait, Slack. Is Slack
I haven't
in the
seen him.
wings?
If he shows up,
Bobby, do you want to see if Slack wants to call in, and we can
Yeah.
go to Slack?
Yeah, I can reach out.
Thank you. But otherwise, let's move down the card here. We can talk about. I think this is Zubes' most anticipated the match. It's Chris Jericho and Bandito for the aforementioned Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. Zubes, I think this one is a lock simply because it's mask versus title. I just, if they unmask Bandito at Dynasty to Chris Jericho, something's gone horribly wrong.
maybe he's hot. Maybe he's super hot under there.
Oh, you're saying he could get more over by being an attractive guy without the mask?
Could be a super hot guy. No, I
The
think
mask is so cool, Zubes.
man, it's a bad sign when the Chris Jericho ROH Championship match is like billed as basically the 5th biggest thing you've got on there, upper middle of the card. Yeah, listen, Jericho's it's a tough thing, right? Of like, I guess there's some credit due to like he is at least moving down. He's not taking up that much time, and he's moving down the card and possibly here elevating somebody else.
Sure.
That needs a comeback. But again, this is in the camp of like, to me, the best case scenario is nothing on the show. Not even like at least he's doing this. At least he's doing this. Like no. At least would be zero involvement. But
That would also be at most for my
yes, that's true. Listen, I have high hopes for Bandito. I think we all feel highly about Bandito. The ROH Championship, ROH in general. It's such a like no-go miss, like it's such a shame. It already just feels so broken that it's really hard. They managed to have a good lineage of champions since they took it over, but the champion doesn't have anything to do with the show. The brand seems to exist just to have one extra prop belt kicking around. So it loses a lot of juice for that because Bandito, once again challenging for that championship, should feel like it means a little more in the way that it did for Claudio, in the way that it did for Eddie, in the way that it did for Mark Briscoe. Maybe not to that level, but it should feel like a bit of a restoring. And I don't know that
he's a Ring of Honor OG as much as maybe not Briscoe, but most guys on that roster or more. He's the champion of an era nobody watched, which is always an unfortunate way. I always feel this way about Shingo Takagi in the IWGP world. It's like, yeah, he was the world champ, but not too many people saw it.
Well, then maybe very fitting to make him champion right now. Then he once again be the champion nobody watches.
Bingo. But I am predicting this. I can hear people now being like, "Oh, their first match was good." It's like, and it left you wanting more. You're like, "Can't wait for the rematch." Give me a break. This should be, if you're going to have Bandito win, did we really need to extend this to a 2-match program? Something I find myself saying more and more in AEW these days. Did we need to do this rematch? For me, an instant rematch is almost never the way. An immediate rematch is almost always the worst booking choice. It is almost always better to have both competitors pick up another win, pick up a little steam, and come back together. That's my belief. Matty Mac's right. This is Jericho's second run with it. And Matty Mac will have you call in if Slack doesn't. This is Jericho's second run with this title, dude. Come on. How many TV deals does ROH need, you know?
One. How about that?
Yeah. Well, that was never, like I've said on Double Dudes, it was never going to be real. No TV network was be like, well, we're going to sign ROH, but I heard Chris Jericho isn't the champion, so it's going to be a pass.
It would be extremely funny to me if they signed a deal with Sinclair Broadcasting to show ROH, where they're like, just you guys pay the bills. We'll just put it on TV.
Sinclair was good to them. Sinclair paid a lot of indie wrestlers the most they had ever made.
Yeah. I have nothing bad to say about it except that I stopped watching it at some point. That's all I can really say.
And I think Sinclair is like a super religious organization, and they donate to bad stuff if memory serves. So before
Probably.
I blindly praise them.
Well, the guys who run the other channels are good guys. So
Yeah, well, and thankfully they're paying the super moral.
the other big media
guys in
companies,
wrestling.
it's mostly benevolent. I think it's mostly they do it for the love of.
And the guys
wrestling.
cashing the paychecks definitely weren't,
Yeah.
murderers in some case, like Teddy Hart. Yeah, the morality was leaking out of Ring of Honor, I suppose. Bobby Jeopardy here, back from the Slack, man.
Not yet. So I think we should probably hit the next spot
Maddie
on our Rolodex here. Maddie, if you don't mind jumping in the Discord voice channel, we can put you up on the show. I was just going to ask, as a last point on this match, does the apuestas do anything for you? Because it's very rare in AEW. It's not used often, and I was pretty excited when I heard that they were actually going to put a stip like that on it.
I'm cool with it.
Not really for me, if I'm being honest. If they would have done hair versus mask, like like Jericho has something on the line, but I just don't feel like the Ring of Honor title means anything to Jericho, and I don't think Bandito's losing. But in general, I like that stip, but I couldn't believe they didn't do hair versus mask.
Well, I think they didn't do hair versus mask because Jericho's losing. So
yeah, Jericho never buzzed. This is the last time for his life Jericho's gonna have long hair. Let him enjoy it.
Yeah, if he cuts his hair off,
Turkey.
it's gone. Yeah.
But you just go to Turkey and they just glue one on you now.
They do.
It's crazy, man. A guy I know got that done. Went to Turkey and got hair put on him. He's got nicer hair than me. $5,400, 2 weeks. Now Matt Prince is saying to me, "I'm gonna get it." He sees this guy's doing it. I'm gonna do it.
Sure.
Anyway, enough on that.
We are joined now by the lovely and talented Maddie Mack.
He really is lovely and talented, isn't he? Hi, Maddie. How are you, brother? Oh, look at this.
Hello, I'm very good. How are you?
Muted.
Oh man, I'm doing great, but a little sad that I don't look as good as you, I suppose. Look at that yellow Zubes.
Yeah, he
what are you gonna do? You guys are beautiful in your own right. Are you kidding me? Come on.
In our own right is right. Maddie Mac, what are your excitement level for Dynasty on Sunday? Are you getting pumped? You're gonna get the dregs of the matches to pick from, so I'll set you up getting talking some overhead pay-per-view thoughts out the gate.
Yeah, I'm not. I kind of forgot it was this weekend, so I don't know if that's a good barometer of where I'm at.
I'm gonna say no,
but yeah. So I don't know. I think by now I'm about a 5 or so, but certainly have been more excited for other shows, and I think it's been mentioned a few times. Just top to bottom, this one isn't blow away, but definitely looking forward to a few matches for sure.
Let's see how much you're looking forward to this match. Zubes, you had mentioned earlier what a Kenny Omega singles match would do for this pay-per-view. And boy, I really feel like it would do a lot on this one for me personally. And instead, he's wrestling Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey. Now, I've made my thoughts on Speedball clear. I think every dollar you put into him is going to be a waste. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy in this company. But the crowds are responding to him. And he's going out there with two guys who know how to work his style. Maddie Mack, I'm just being honest. You think he could ever be anything? Speedball.
It's a very casual evisceration. You're almost never that mean to anybody. It's like amazing.
Do you disagree? Can he ever be anything?
I don't know. I don't have enough of an opinion to speak so definitively. Excellent.
Well, Maddie Mack, maybe this is where he can become a guy. Are you excited for this one, the international triple threat?
No. But I think there's some tasty stuff within it. Kenny's just, I know that you were not necessarily anticipating this match or looking forward to it anyways, but I just think Kenny in any match is exciting. Would I have preferred it to be Mark Davis and someone else? Yes. Or just Mark Davis? Yes. I mean, I think we need to see Kenny against different guys than guys who are similar, if that makes sense. Not to say those guys are similar, but you know what I mean.
No, right.
I think seeing what Ricochet and Kenny can do will be interesting. I think no, I don't actually think that. What I do think is that Kenny Omega is extremely good. And the last triple threat he had for a championship was a 5-star match with Orange Cassidy and Pac. So let's find out.
They're certainly doing Speedball a tremendous favor. Is sort of what I view here is like they are implying that he is, probably not quite at these guys' level, but worthy of the same conversation as Ricochet and Kenny Omega. And they had just positioned Ricochet as somebody who is, can get the better of Swerve Strickland, who you now have positioned near the top of the card. So you are doing quite a bit of welcome to the company for Speedball here. Whether the Josh's point remains true about him not being a guy, they're certainly positioning him like a potential guy right away.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You're
They've been
definitely
doing
right.
that.
Sorry, Maddie, go ahead, please.
No, I just was going to say it's interesting that they've kind of been doing that with these. I don't know if it's incentive or a carrot to get these guys to sign, but you'd still see a similar thing right now with Kevin Knight. I guess Speedball has won a match and also kind of won another match, whereas Kevin Knight just has a loss and a tag win. So I guess they can both be going for titles. Not that Kevin is, but he's in the tournament,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen so much Mike Bailey over the last several years, just with him being on every show on the Indies. I think he's got some cool stuff in his move set. I just don't think that he's not a guy to be on this stage. He's the TNA guy. That's his ceiling for me. And his floor is the Legion. Like, I don't know, not my guy.
I gotta be honest.
I gotta be honest.
I'm kind of pulling for
No, go ahead.
Speedball. I'm not gonna lie to you two guys.
Good.
I
Yeah,
just-
Because we're being so
talk about
negative.
Legitimately, I don't know that I've ever heard somebody count it out so definitively. Like it really is like it's very interesting to me. We've been doing this show for a very long time. This is the most definitively I have seen somebody come in and be counted out. Ricochet is pretty close.
I don't know if Matty Mac feels the same. I don't want to speak for him. But I feel very assured in my gut feeling on this stuff at this point. I was right about Sammy Guevara. And I'm not saying me, I'm saying you, everybody watching this.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara, Jack Perry, Wheeler Yuta, these guys aren't getting anywhere. And I was willing to give legs, but my gut was dead on. It's like they're too small. They're not, there's nothing, none of them seen a Samoa Joe match in their life. They have no idea of like realism or gravity. It's all just like echoes of Will Ospreay, way worse echoes of Will Ospreay, who is nothing like the guy that they're mirroring off of. He got on steroids. He stopped going House of Pain jump around style, and they're still there. So I can't like, I don't want to do it again. I don't feel like I have to extend. I can be proven wrong, but I don't feel like I have to extend. I don't need to take 2 years to be like, I was right about Jack Perry. I'm willing to just be like, this guy's not going to be anything. Let's move on to someone who can be.
Well, he's 34 years old. You don't have those 2 years to give to him. I was gonna say
he's 34.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
the
do.
Karate Kid. He's the karate grown adult at this point.
I do know who's gonna. I know who's gonna
Yeah.
get Zubes' Stu Hart vote this year, though.
I was gonna say
a pity
I
vote
was
for
gonna say
Speedball.
that.
I got
Sorry,
some
go
news for you. Speedball has received votes in years past. He's not a 0-time vote receiver.
Wasn't he second place last year?
He's definitely been an honorable mention. Josh Alexander has plenty of votes over the years on these things. He's not. Wouldn't if I voted for him, it wouldn't be the first time he ever got voted for.
No, for sure not. Well, now I like this. Now I like Zubes reading for Speedball. This is good.
I'm just rooting for him. I'm not saying that I have any contradictory thoughts to yours, but like part of me wants to see a guy show up and prove it.
And listen, there's nothing some steroids couldn't fix.
Yeah.
And I'll keep praising him. He does like a form karate high kick off the top rope, and that's cool.
I think he should be even more French. I don't think he's being French enough. If you want my first review of hearing him talk, hearing him do a promo, he should be more French. He's doing it backwards. He's trying to appear less and less French to appeal to more people. You got to be as French as possible, brother. We need to show people
what a George St. Pierre level of French Canadian accent.
100%. Or like Kevin Owens is great at this. Is he will pull it out and he'll crank it up to 10 when he has to. I would be doing that. Let's show these guys what it's like to wrestle a really small Quebec guy who wants to fight. It's annoying.
Wouldn't that be a
Like,
nightmare? That would be the worst.
be a nightmare. It'd be
I
awful
respect
experience.
Kenny Omega. He is a good guy, and I respect his ability in the
Crank
ring.
it up.
And if it was in the octagon, yeah, he could do that sort of thing. Zubes. Yeah, okay, I'll kind of
Crank it up. I'd
I do
crank it up.
karate.
Okay? Absolutely. 11 even. I wouldn't even speak English. I think maybe.
There's
You
a lot
just
of these
forget
guys.
to speak English.
There's a lot
Matty
of these
Mac,
guys
go on
that
the
come
record.
in.
Is Kenny Omega winning this match?
Yeah. Kenny's definitely winning this. I was gonna say there's a lot of guys that come in and we poo-poo them a little bit, but it's like, man, but I'd love to be wrong. I would not love to be wrong about Speedball because I don't see it past that. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a guy.
Who is the you'd love to be wrong guy? Hook is maybe that for me.
Hook, I think, honestly, I'd love to be wrong about Jack Perry. I'd love him to shave his head. I'd love him to be
Great
sick.
talking to you tonight, Matty Mac. Thanks for calling in. And,
Hey, they can't all be great calls, you know?
we were on a good run. Just teasing, Matty. You're wonderful as ever.
Obviously.
Matty, we've been asking people after they talk about their match to fire off. Is there any other take about AEW or this pay-per-view? Anything you want to get off your chest? You've got platform now. The floor is yours. Or you can bid adieu to the people and however you like it. It's like Burger King here. Have it your way.
Okay, thank you. I could love a burger, actually. That'd be great.
Me too, dude. Oh, I'd love
What do I have? What do I have cooking lately? I would just say that I think Tony Storm is the best wrestler in North America right now, hands down, not close.
Beautiful.
Love that one. Matty with a
That's all I got.
sizzler fastball down the middle. One I find kind of hard to disagree with. If you count
Agree.
like full pro wrestler, she only has everything.
That's right.
I actually think,
But
her
I
character
do-
leaves
I would like her to
undisputed
lose.
heel, too.
I
You want her to lose to
lose.
Bane?
Yeah,
Me and you. I said that
let's
earlier.
do it.
Me and you. Very nice.
Incredible.
Matty Mac, he's beautiful. He's well spoken. And he's continuing our run of amazing calls tonight. Matty, thank you so much for calling in, brother. Love and energy. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, guys. Peace, love, and energy.
Have an energy.
What a run of calls, Zubes. I'm humbled.
Josh, can I pitch something for you for Speedball, and you tell me would this do anything?
Yeah,
So,
please.
you know the Roddy Piper gives Ronda Rousey his gimmick thing?
Yep.
They got a good relationship with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. What if we got a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat segment where he gifts Speedball his gimmick and says, "You're the baby face of this generation" or something? Does that get him
Just,
even?
like, hit arm drags.
Yeah.
So here's the problem, Bobby. I'm not a Steamboat Mark, so it's
Tough.
I didn't really like his Ring of Honor run. So
It's Ring of Honor. Yeah. Took that bump kind of
so, yeah, I don't
awkwardly
know. It would.
at 90
You know,
years old or
this
whatever.
is my sort of broken brainness, Bobby. You know who they could do that with for me and Speedball? What's the human weapon Steve Blackman up to?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Where's the human weapon? There's a guy who could throw some high kicks.
Low key.
Somebody go get Steve Blackman to be like, "You're the martial arts now, Speedball," and raise his hand.
Yeah, you too could be the European champion one day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's your
Hell
ceiling.
yeah.
The Euro champ. Zooms, one more match to preview here before Sunday's show. And a reminder, everybody, Pick'em's on the Discord, Shootopia on the Patreon. Get in there, patreon.com/J0SHC if you're watching this on YouTube. And even for the free ones, you get to do the Pick'em it's a free level of the Patreon if you just want to do the Pick'em.
Give it to me, Josh. You gotta give us one.
We hurt people. We hurt people. It's the Hurt Syndicate. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, presumably escorted to the ring by MVP, taking on the Learning Tree, Big Bill and Bounty Keith. Now, I talked about how I felt like this was sort of a TV title defense. That doesn't mean it can't be a great match, though. I hope that there's stuff to talk about in this match exiting it, Zubes, for Ryan Knight to sink our teeth into, especially as it pertains to Big Bill squaring up with a couple of these syndicate members. Can you get into this one? I kind of feel like there is something here for me.
It does feel like a TV title defense, but I'm into Hurt Syndicate title defenses, so that's good. I want the tag team division to exist and move forward, and I want them to have defenses and a run and things that we remember and challengers. I know it was supposed to be The Murder Machines, which would have a lot of juice. I'm
Yeah.
in on the continued evolution of Big Bill as a guy that we're looking forward to seeing every week, and think he has a really high ceiling. Maybe that high ceiling is in tag, but I think he's a guy that just like, we need a guy to look like the guy for 5 minutes. Big Bill can look like the guy for 5 minutes.
And maybe
I,
only on the other
yeah.
same level as him is Bobby Lashley. Maybe the only other guy in the company who it's like, oh, there he is. There's the biggest, strongest pro wrestler in the company.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. They've teased it a couple times. The Lashley Big Bill clash should actually be pretty cool. So I have some rope for this in what is a bit of a undercard that I was not like. It stands out to me as like probably the thing I'm most excited about in the first 5 matches, probably.
Do we see MJF here, Zubes?
Ooh, maybe.
This
Yeah,
is why I
maybe.
wish it was the Murder Machines, because I could kind of be here talking, saying, could MJF say, oh, you don't need me? Watch this. Do a ref spot, screw over Shelton while Bobby needs the tag or something and cost them the titles. I kind of thought that's where they were going. But with these guys, it's less clear. Do you think we see MJF here?
I hadn't considered it, but I like that a lot.
I,
What do you think, Bobby?
I think if you do the old, our good friend Eric likes to say, just watch the show. If you just like listen to what they say and take it literally, sometimes it's the best way to, kind of predict what's going to happen. MJF left that segment saying like, okay, I get it. I have to demonstrate value to you. I'll find a way to demonstrate my value to you. So I think it's like as telegraphed as it can possibly be that he'll be involved in it somehow. Either maybe he takes out Big Bill before the match or something, or the probably more likely that you said, Josh, trying to help and costing them or nearly costing them. I don't think there's any chance that the tag titles change hands, but doing something that comes across the opposite of his intent, and they can stoke the stoke the fire a little bit with that. But I think he's definitely going to be there and involved in some capacity.
See, Suppa wisely pointing out, MJF has had business relationships with both Brian Cage and Lance Archer, both guys he's hired to be his muscle at different points. So, I could buy on it more if it wasn't Bill and Bounty across from them, but all the same, I'm excited to watch this one, and I think you'll get progression either way. Zoops, I'm pretty pumped for the pay-per-view actually, and then really for those top 2 matches, that's must-see stuff for me.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm interested to see the directions. They have the chance to be really bold here. We'll see if they take it. But they've got their aces. They've got their 2 aces at the top of this card in both of those matches with Swerve and Timeless Tony Storm. To me, they have there's two biggest pieces they can play, and they're playing them. So kudos for that.
New York had them both, and they can go fuck themselves. Zoo's very excited for AEW Dynasty. I will be talking to the Brainiacs with Ryan Schapp on Sunday, the moment Dynasty ends. Come join us. The last one was hot, Zoops. The last post show after Revolution. There's damn near 1,000 people here, so you could be one of the number. Get in here Sunday after Dynasty. Bobby, you said before you thought this might be one of the nicest looking streams we've ever had. I'm tempted to agree, Zoops. Look at this background.
That's it. Sword and Shield.
What is so sick.
Gorgeous.
So Bobby, thank you so much. And again, apologies for the lack of time thing or the wrong time. This was a hell of a stream by you.
No worries. And my last little piece to add here is the good night screen, the love and energy screen.
We might just have to use this full time.
Yeah, just give that.
Yeah, this is the new goodbye screen.
I will,
oh my God, the hand.
Yeah, I will send you. I'll send Schapp the assets.
Please do.
I don't know how my own hand works anymore. I'm trying to. Is it the other hand?
It up. It's the right hand. Well, I guess it is.
It's your.
I don't. The more you think about it, though, you got to just go. You do it.
Love and energy, everybody.
Just do it right away. Yeah.